4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, hey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm getting a thumbs up.
Friends, when we kicked off this campaign in January, Anas made one thing crystal clear. This election was Scotland's chance to change the government after 20 years of SNP failure. He said this election would be about the things that actually matter to people's lives. Our NHS, our schools, the cost of living, jobs, homes, and the future of our communities. And we knew from the very start that we would have to fight for every vote. We knew that we would have to fight against the poison of reform. We knew we would have to fight against the failure and the excuses of the Scottish National Party. And we knew that we would have to make the case for change in every town, in every city, in every community and in every constituency across Scotland. And that is exactly what each and every one of you have done. Thank you.
We have run an ambitious campaign, a proud campaign, a disciplined campaign, and a campaign with one clear message. Reject reform, beat the SNP, change Scotland. Because after 20 years of SNP government, Scotland has paid the price. Our NHS is struggling. Family budgets are under pressure. Young people are being denied opportunity, and too many communities feel they have been left behind. Throughout this campaign, we've set out a positive plan for how a Scottish Labour government would fix the mess, get the basics right, and build a better future for Scotland. We said we would save our NHS by cutting waiting lists, ending the 8 a.m. rush for a GP appointment, and bringing back the family doctor. We said we would make life more affordable by cutting childcare costs, helping families with bills, and fixing the roads and ending government waste.
We said that we would give all our young people the chance to succeed, with better schools, more teachers, more classroom assistants, and more opportunity. And we said that we would create jobs, back Scottish industry, and build the homes and communities that we deserve. While we were doing that, reform tried to drag Scottish politics into the gutter. We took on the poison of reform and said loud and clear, that is not the Scotland that we know and love.
And we took on the lies of the SNP and exposed a tired campaign built on gimmicks, spin and promises they will never keep. Because the truth is simple. You've given the SNP 20 years, now give us 5. 5 years to fix the mess, 5 years to get the basics right, 5 years to build a better future for Scotland.
And every single one of us, downstairs and upstairs in this room, have helped carry that message to the people of Scotland. Together, we have delivered 10 million pieces of campaign print.
We've had thousands and thousands of doorstep conversations with voters in every part of the country.
And we've reached more than 1.5 million Scots online, with thousands of adverts carrying our message of change into homes and phones right across Scotland.
And we've done all of this knowing that many people are scunnered with politics, knowing that many people are frustrated, knowing that many people feel they are paying more and getting less. But still, we make the case for change. Still, we made the case that Scotland can do better than this. Still, we made the case that the future does not have to look like the last 20 years.
Now, as the late, great John Smith said, the chance to serve our country, that is all that we ask. That is what we have asked for in this election campaign. The chance to serve, the chance to change Scotland, the chance to save our NHS, the chance to make life more affordable, the chance to give the next generation the future that they deserve.
And now it comes down to tomorrow. Tomorrow, every conversation matters. Tomorrow, every vote matters. And tomorrow, every seat matters.
Because tomorrow... Jackie speaks for all of us because it's that big, and for us, it's that deep. Because tomorrow, Scotland faces a simple but critical choice. More of the same with John Swinney and the SNP, or change with Scottish Labour. The poison of reform, or a better future for our country.
So this is the final push, the final conversations, the final leaflets, the final calls, and the final ask. Tomorrow, vote for change.
Reject reform, beat the SNP, change Scotland. Vote Scottish Labour.
And now, before we hear from the next First Minister of Scotland, let's remind ourselves how important tomorrow is for our NHS, for our families, for our communities, for the future of our country.
Tomorrow, we need to vote Scottish Labour and reject reform. As a young man in Scotland, I've seen how reform have targeted me and my peers, trying to exploit the feeling that we've been left behind by our government, but only to create divisions in our communities. This is the reform that spent thousands of pounds on racist ads attacking Anas Sarwar and his loyalty to his country, Scotland. Reform who has put forward and stood by candidates calling for his children and all children like them to be deported. Reform whose leader is a former Tory member, Tory donor, Tory peer and Tory minister. They don't represent change, they represent division. I understand why people are fed up with politics and like no one is offering change and that all politicians are the same. I understand why you feel drawn to vote for a party that seems to reject the politics that you feel hasn't served you. But I promise you, reform don't offer that. You might be deciding who to vote for right now, sitting in your parents' house because you can't afford to get on the housing ladder, frustrated because you couldn't get an apprenticeship after school or a job after college. But don't let reform distract you from who's really to blame for all that, the Scottish National Party. Instead, vote for real change. Vote for 9,000 new apprenticeships. Vote for 125,000 new homes. Vote for better access to mental health support and vote for safer streets. Reject the toxic, divisive and racist politics of reform and change Scotland. Let's get out tomorrow, go to the polls and vote for Scottish Labour and for Anas Sarwar for First Minister.
Tomorrow, let's vote Scottish Labour to beat the SNP. This is my first time voting in a Scottish Parliament election, and I'm so pleased to be using that vote to elect a Scottish Labour MSP and hopefully a Scottish Labour government with Anas Sarwar as First Minister. The SNP have been in power for most of my life. I have never known any government other than them. Because of this, my experience of public services is exclusively one of decline, of schools getting worse, the NHS harder to access, libraries closing and seeing my friends and family deprived of opportunities and let down. The SNP want us to believe that this is as good as it gets, but I know that's not true. If the SNP have no idea on how to fix things, they should step aside. 20 years. That is a lifetime. There are people voting tomorrow who were born into SNP Scotland. It's no wonder people think that politicians and governments aren't on their side, because the SNP isn't on our side. 20 years of cover-up. 20 years of wasting your money. 20 years of unsafe hospitals and ferries with the windows painted on. 20 years of worsening public services, 20 years of broken promises. We cannot afford to give them another 5. Instead, let's have 5 years to fix the mess. 5 years of a renewed NHS, 5 years of a house-building revolution, 5 years of Scottish Labour and 5 years of Anas Sarwar. Tomorrow, at the polls, that is a choice that we have. More of the same with John Swinney and SNP, or change with Anas Sarwar and Scottish Labour. Let's give Anas 5. Let's go out and vote for it. We're now going to watch a video all about the campaign so far.
Change to fix our NHS. Change that will help all our young people to succeed. Change to make our streets safer and communities stronger. Change for our towns, cities, villages and islands. Change to fix the mess, get the basics right and build a better future for Scotland. After 20 years of SNP government, Scotland needs change. You can vote for it. And a new First Minister, then on May the 7th, vote Scottish Labour.
There's a place I know, there's magic where the flowers grow, and beauty where the rivers flow, up over hills and country roads. Scotland is a place called home. I've walked so many miles, the feeling gets stronger. I know it's been a while, but it won't be long, yeah. It's been so long since I've seen you smile, my friend. I'm looking up every day, thinking of all of the places I wanna go. The clouds will be flying out up in the
Thank
sky,
you.
coming on in a row. But don't forget where we're coming from, my
Thank you.
friends. And there's a place I know.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for that really warm introduction. I really appreciate it. And my goodness, look at the opportunity we have in the next 24 hours. An opportunity for the first time in 20 years to change the government here in Scotland. A first opportunity to make sure that we have a government that actually works for the people of Scotland. So the only way to get that change is that people vote for that change, and that means voting Scottish Labour. And the choice, friends, the choice is more of the same, managed decline with the SNP, or a better future with Scotland with Scottish Labour. That is the choice. Now, we have got to go out there and persuade people over the course of the next 24 hours. Because let's be honest, when we're out about on the streets of Scotland, we know how scunnered people are. We know the deep sense of frustration and anger they feel. And actually, we share it. But the choice in this election is not to protest in this election, but is to deliver change in this election. So you have given John Swinney and the SNP 20 years. Give me 5. And in that time, we will demonstrate that we can fix the NHS, we can make life more affordable, and we can build a better future for Scotland. But that means But that means rejecting reform, beating the SNP, changing Scotland, and the only way to do that is by voting Scottish Labour. And right across the country, we can see why Scotland needs change. Take the cost of living crisis. Right now, families wake up every morning, look on their TV screens, watch the events happening around the globe, and worry about what it means, yes, for lives elsewhere, but livelihoods here at home. They worry about what it means for their food bills. They worry about what it means for their petrol bills. But rather than having a government that wants to use the illegal actions of Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump to actually try and point the finger of blame somewhere else and refuse to act, it demonstrates why we need a new government here in Scotland. Because unlike John Swinney and the SNP, I will not use the illegal actions of Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump to simply close my eyes and point the finger somewhere else. I will use the full office of First Minister and the full strength of a Scottish government to make sure people get the support they need. That's why we will unveil a £100 million emergency package, which will mean bailout loans for energy-intensive companies so we can protect jobs. It will mean bulk buying fuel so we can drive down prices at the petrol pumps. It will mean maximising people's incomes by redeploying the civil service to go out there to make sure people are getting the tax breaks they need on their childcare, or indeed pensioners getting the income they deserve. It will mean convening our supermarkets so we can drive down the cost of staple items. And it will mean crisis loans and grants for households so no Scot pays the price of the actions of other governments somewhere else. But you only get that change if you vote for that change. And that means reject reform, beat the SNP, change Scotland, and vote Scottish Labour. Now, friends, I don't know if any of you heard, but I used to be an NHS dentist. It's a well-kept secret, I know. But actually, as a former NHS dentist, the NHS is in my DNA. And if you look right around this country, the greatest symbol of SNP decline and failure is what's happened to our National Health Service. Right now, in communities across the country, people are being forced to pay £12,000 for a hip replacement, £8,000 for a knee replacement, £5,000 for a cataract. People can't even access basic GP services, being left hanging on the phone for hour after hour. And too many young people can't access the mental health support they need, impacting on their education and therefore their life outcomes. That's the consequence of 20 years of the SNP. So you have given John Swinney and the SNP 20 years. Give me 5. And in that time, we will cut NHS waiting lists. We will end the ATM rush for a GP. We will bring back the family doctor, and we'll embrace technology so we get faster treatment and faster diagnosis. But we only get that change if we vote for that change, and that means reject reform, beat the SNP, change Scotland, and vote Scottish Labour. And friends, the very definition of the future of Scotland is our amazing young people. But let's be honest, for too many of them, the opportunity is taken away from them. And actually, for far too many of them, their opportunities, their life chances, and their life expectancy is defined not by their talent, it's defined by their postcode or their social status. That can't be allowed to continue. On this SNP government's watch, there are too many kids not getting the chance they need. Colleges cut, apprenticeships not being supported, too many not getting access to support in our schools, too many falling behind on literacy and numeracy. So you have given John Swinney and the SNP 20 years. Give me 5. And in that time, we will have more classroom assistants and teachers in our schools so we can have the catch-up on literacy, numeracy, tech, AI and science. And we'll also ban mobile phones in classrooms so we can protect the minds of our young people and make sure they can concentrate on their education. We'll maintain free university tuition. We'll support our colleges and we'll establish 9,000 new apprenticeships in growth sectors. But you only get that change if you vote for that change, and that means reject reform, beat the SNP, change Scotland and vote Scottish Labour. And this election is also about delivering safer streets and stronger communities. Because under this SNP government, too many people feel as if their communities are forgotten. Too many feel that when they call a police officer, no help comes. We've seen shoplifting skyrocket, in some ways legalised across this country. And we have too many missed opportunities. We have police officers stuck in courtrooms not giving evidence. We've got people calling for mental health support, but rather than getting a paramedic or a nurse, a police officer is having to respond. That's unfair on the police, and it's unfair on that person in crisis. So you have given John Swinney and the SNP 20 years. Give me 5. And in that time, we will return community policing to make sure everyone feels safe. We will back local businesses and tackle the crime that blights too many communities. And we'll establish a new mental health emergency service so people can get the care they need and we can get police officers back on our streets, fighting crime and delivering safer communities. But you only get that change if you vote for that change, and that means reject reform, beat the SNP, change Scotland and vote Scottish Labour. And friends, the symbol of decline under this SNP government is, as we speak right now, more than 10,000 children are homeless in Scotland. 10,000 kids without a home to call their own, and all that impact it has on the rest of their life. And we also have seen rough sleeping skyrocket in this country, a 66% increase in rough sleeping over the last few years. And at the same time, house building has collapsed across the country with a housing system that feels like it's designed by people that don't understand the system in one part of Edinburgh, rather than a housing system that works for every part of our great country. So you have given John Swinney and the SNP 20 years. Give me 5. And in that time, we will build 125,000 new homes, drive down the cost of mortgages and rents, bring down homelessness with the ambition to end it, and we will eradicate rough sleeping once and for all. But you only get that change if you vote for that change, and that means reject reform, beat the SNP, change Scotland and vote Scottish Labour. And let's look right across our country. Our high streets, our town centres, our city centres, neglected by this SNP government, forgotten by this SNP government. And what does that mean for local businesses? Too many shut down. What does it mean for our high streets? Too many neglected. And what does it mean for our spending power in this country? It means an £800 million growth gap. That's money that could be supporting transforming our great country. So I say you have given John Swinney and the SNP 20 years. Give me 5. And in that time, we will abolish business rates to reinvigorate our town centres and our high streets. We will end the ideological block to clean nuclear energy, meaning billions of pounds of more investment coming into our country with thousands of new jobs and greater energy security. And we'll bring back our town centres, high streets and city centres. But you only get that change if you vote for that change. And that means reject reform, beat the SNP, change Scotland and vote Scottish Labour. But we also need a government in this country that stops the waste and respects your money. Because right now, people are working harder and harder, longer and longer, and paying more and more, but getting less and less in return. And the perfect symbol of that is 2 ferries costing the price of 10 ferries, not sailing, failing islanders, as well as financial incompetence. And we have in Glasgow a new prison that was supposed to cost £100 million, costing £1 billion. That £900 million could have built 40 new community health centres across the country. And look at the neglect in our communities where they can't even get the basics right of cleaning up our streets and fixing the potholes. So you have given John Swinney and the SNP 20 years. Give me 5. And in that time, we will invest £350 million to fix 5 million potholes across the country. We'll have a new ferries agency with Islanders' voice at the heart of it and build the ferries here in Scotland on time and on budget. And we'll make sure Scottish contracts go to Scottish companies so we have Scottish jobs. But you only get that change if you vote for that change. And that means reject reform, beat the SNP, change Scotland and vote Scottish Labour. But friends, government is about not campaigning, not looking for someone else to blame, but taking responsibility. Government is a privilege and an honour and a responsibility where you should wake up every morning thinking not what's the advantage for me, what's the campaign I want to pursue, but actually what do I do that day to make the country better and deliver for the great people of this country. And the reason why this country needs change is because that's not what we have in Butte House or under this SNP government. They wake up every day thinking, how do we pursue the cause they believe in rather than the things that matter to people every single day? So what's the hallmark of this SNP government? It's a culture of secrecy, cover-up, corruption, protect their own, protect the institution, party first, country second. So I say you have given John Swinney and the SNP 20 years. Give me 5. And in that time, I will wake up every single morning thinking, how do I cut NHS waiting lists? How do I build more homes? How do I back local businesses? How do we guarantee more opportunities for our kids? How do we stop the waste, respect your money, and build a better future for our great country, Scotland? But you only get that change if you vote for that change, and that means reject reform, beat the SNP, change Scotland, and vote Scottish Labour. And let me just say one last thing about reform. Reform have demonstrated that this election campaign for them and politics for them is not to fix people's problems. is not to come up with solutions and answers, but it's to use legitimate concerns to spread fear for their own ends. This is a political party and an organisation that doesn't understand Scotland, doesn't care about Scotland, doesn't want to change Scotland. All they can do is create noise and stop change. And that's why I am confident that Scotland will reject the bile and poison of reform. Because Scots have seen their like before and sent them packing, and I've got every confidence they'll do the same again. Because they don't understand Scotland, but worse than that, they underestimate our fellow Scots. Because look at my opportunity of standing here today. Someone that's like me, from my background and my faith, being able to stand here today, 24 hours from an election, being a leader of a mainstream political party, and asking for the privilege and the honour to be this country's First Minister, doesn't say something good about me, it says something amazing about this great country, Scotland. So I say directly to my fellow Scots, whether you're undecided, whether you're scunnered and don't want to bother to vote, or whether you're so angry that you want to send a message, I say directly to people across this great country, you've had for 20 years politicians who want to separate Scot from Scot. And now you've got a new set of politicians, well, they're the same old set, but they're pretending to be the new set of politicians wanting to divide Scot from Scot. My job in this campaign, and my job if you give me the honour of being First Minister, will not be to divide Scot from Scot, but will be to unite this country for change. Unite this country to cut waiting lists. Unite this country to give opportunities for our young people. Unite this country to build the homes our country needs. Unite this country to invest in every community, every town, every village, every city and every island. Unite this country to respect your money, end the waste and build a better future. And that's why in the next 24 hours, every conversation will matter. Every persuasive conversation will matter. Because there are 38 constituencies across Scotland that are on a knife edge. And they are straight choices between Scottish Labour and the SNP. And those 38 constituencies will decide the result of this election campaign. And so every conversation on that doorstep, every persuasive conversation, every person going out to vote tomorrow has the future of this great country in their hands. We can all see Scotland needs change, and only we ultimately can deliver that change. So tomorrow, what do you need to do? You need to reject the poison of reform. We need to beat the SNP, and we need to change Scotland, and that means voting Scottish Labour. Thank you.
There's magic where the flowers grow, and beauty where the rivers flow, up over hills and country roads. Scotland is a place called home. I've walked so many miles, the feeling gets stronger. I know it's been a while, but it won't be long, yeah. It's been so long since I've seen you smile, my friends. I'm waking up every night thinking of all of the places I wanna go. The flags will be flying held up in the sky, will be coming on down the road. But don't forget where we're coming from, my friends. And there's a place I know, there's magic where the flowers grow, and beauty where the rivers flow, country.